Hello, this is yours truly, Charles Prosper, your consistency success coach. And in this installment, let's talk about how consistency relates to relationship success. You see, in the bottom line, it is not what a person says, but what a person consistently does that determines the relationship and who they are and who they will be to you. It is important that you consistently observe the consistent behavior of the person to know them. Don't pay too much attention to the I love yous and all of the other romantic utterances that come from a fresh new relationship. They're nice to hear, they feel good, they're fun, but they don't have any substance. The substance comes from your objective observation of a person's consistent behavior. Based on this, you can determine if you have and will have a successful relationship. You see, one of the things that we need to understand that a lot of people make mistakes about is expecting a person to be different than who they are. Expecting a person to change and be like we would want them to be. People don't change. People are who they are. The core personality of someone is who they are. Let me see if I can explain this to you by using a classic example of Winnie the Pooh. All of us have watched Winnie the Pooh, especially if we have children that we have raised, and we know some of the characters, the classic characters of Winnie the Pooh. I like to cite the example of Tigger. Tigger is bouncy, energetic, enthusiasm, flowing over all the time. The wonderful thing about Tigger, you know how Tigger is. And then there's Igor, the donkey. Hello, how are you doing? How's everything going? Okay, these are two different personality types, totally opposite from each other. Let me ask you a question. Could you imagine that Tigger can just one day, the next day, wake up and be like Igor? Can you imagine that? No, of course you can't. Could you imagine that Igor could just wake up the next morning and suddenly be bouncy and energetic like Tigger? No, because these are two totally different personality types. And people, in many respects, are just like this. People are who they are, and people don't change. They only submit. They only modify themselves according to what their goals may be. If their goal is to impress you, to get you to marry them, they may suppress some of these personality traits that will come out full force after you get married. You can still see glimpses though. Nothing can be hidden if you are objectively observing the consistent behavior of the person. Personality leaves clues. It cannot be hidden. You see it in little things. You see it, for example, the person, it may be you out on a date with somebody who you're hoping to have a future with, and this person is all lovely and beautiful and sweet and charming to you, and the waiter comes over, makes a little mistake with the order, and she just lashes out to the waiter, just tears him apart, and just downgrades him, and then turns back to you. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sometimes waiters upset me when they just don't get the things right. That is something to observe. That is something objectively that you need to see, because personality leaves clues, and you need to consistently observe the behavior of a person to know who that person is. It is by the fruit that we know the tree, not by the fruit that the tree is talking about producing sometime in the future. It is the fruit that is actually being produced on a consistent basis. So, in order to understand the dynamic of a successful relationship, you need to observe what is consistently happening behavior wise on the part of the other person. And objective observation of consistent behavior will tell you who that person is. Forget about your projections onto that person of who you want them to be, or waiting for that person to change sometime because you know that you can change them, you know you can help them, you know that they will be different because of your love that you give to them. No, it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. You have to be objective to observe dispassionately the consistent behavior of the other person to determine if the relationship is what you want and what you know will give you the peace that you're looking for with that other person. So, in this installment, we're going to look at the idea of how consistency is the key to relationship success. Not what a person says, but what a person consistently does in a relationship that will determine if that relationship is a success or not. All right, let's take a look and let's see how consistency is a key element to relationship success. Okay, let's take a look. What I want to talk about today is how consistency relates to relationships, and how consistency relates to you knowing a person by their consistency, not by what they say, but what they consistently do. My dear mother, may she rest in peace, had a saying, "I can't hear what you're saying because I'm too busy watching what you're doing." The message here is that it doesn't matter what a person says, what he or she will do. It only matters what a person does or is actually doing. It is by the fruit that we know the tree. It is not by the fruit that the tree brags about producing someday in the distant future. People who are unpredictably moody and changing from one day to the next are those with whom establishing a stable relationship becomes next to impossible. To know is to trust, and to trust is to know. These are interchangeable concepts. It is only when a person who is consistent with his or her behavior that we can truly say that we know them and trust them. You see, consistent right action is really love expressed. There are many ways to measure the presence of love in a relationship, but consistent right action is the most accurate. The words, "I love you," are only validated by what I do. In the deepest sense, I don't even think that relationships exist to make us quote unquote happy. I feel that relationships exist in order to afford us the opportunity to give of ourselves to another. The happiness of you and the happiness of the other becomes an inevitable byproduct when giving becomes the primary goal. Understanding, patience, honesty, loyalty, and forgiving result with right action, with consistent right action. And consistent right action results in the experience of true love. In fact, consistent kindness outweighs sincere apologies. Well, Let me explain what I mean by this by giving you a story. I had a friend, quote unquote, by the name of David a while back, who was very involved with Alcoholics Anonymous because of his addiction to alcohol. He had done very well to stay sober for a long period of time, and he later became a sponsor for new members who needed guidance on the principles and precepts of the group. I remember that one of the principles and concepts that he always talked about to me was the concept of making amends to all those whom one may have harmed in the past because of his or her alcoholism. He explained the importance of contacting the person who was harmed, showing remorse, recognizing the harm that was done, and asking for forgiveness, and being willing to accept whatever the response was given from the person who was supposedly offended. Later, I noticed a very peculiar behavior pattern of David. On many occasions, he could be very rude and verbally offensive to me with very little provocation. There was one day that he invited me to this Hindu style type meditation location. I declined and said that I was not up to going and being a part of it on that night. Upon my refusal, he became enraged and told me to get out of his house. I left. 3 days later, he calls me. Charles, it was very rude of me to kick you out of my house. I was wrong to do that. You didn't deserve that. I'm asking your forgiveness, and I can understand however it is that you may feel. His apology felt so sincere that I said, don't worry about it, David. Anybody can have a bad moment. Okay. A couple of weeks pass, and we are out on an evening conversation, taking a cup of coffee. I say, well, David, it's 8 p.m. I need to get home. I'll see you later. He retorts, what do you mean, I'll see you later? You have to give me a ride home. I answer, I have to give you a ride home? If you're going to let me take the bus, forget you and your effing friendship. Whoa, I say, that's fine with me. I got up and left. I turned around and saw him sitting in the cafe, angry, frowning, and fuming. Okay. 2 days later, I get a phone call. Hello, Charles. This is David. It was very rude of me to demand that you give me a ride to my house. I was wrong to do that. You didn't deserve that. I'm asking your forgiveness, and I can understand however it is you may feel. I then hung up the phone on him without saying a word. David was the only person who I ever met in my life who I can call a professional apologizer. He liberally allowed himself emotional outbursts because he enjoyed the feeling of the full humility he gave himself from apologizing while asking for the other person's forgiveness. And in a relationship, consistency creates expectancy. And hopefully, it is expectancy of things that are positive. Give your wife a flower every Friday for 6 months, and she will expect it. Rub your pet dog on the stomach every day when you come home, and in 3 months, he will expect it. Give your daughter $50 every week, and soon, yes, she will expect it. Now let me tie all of this together and tell you how consistency creates the perfect relationship. The key concept of consistency and relationship success is this: consistently improving is relationship success. Let me repeat that. consistently improving is relationship success. All relationships have their ups and downs. There will be good days and there will be bad days. But the important thing is that we have days. As long as a relationship is consistently improving and consistently growing, we can say that the relationship is a success. So, as I like to leave you with the words of every installment that I create, as in relationships and as in everything else that is important to you, stay consistent and be successful. Okay, I hope you see now that the most important factor in determining the course and direction of your relationship with anyone is to look at what they are consistently giving you. What is their consistent patterns? What are their consistent patterns of behavior, rather? It is based on this to objectively look at this. Forget about what you want. Forget about what you hope. See what you're getting, and based on that, you make a decision as to where the relationship is going. All right. So, what I would like to do at this point is to invite you to become a member of my family of consistent-minded people at the Prosper Consistency Success membership site, where you'll be part of a group of people, like-minded people, where we help each other remain consistent and focused to stay on our goals. One of the benefits, of the many benefits of being a member, is that you will have an accountability partner assigned to you to help you stay focused and stay on track until you achieve your goal, as you will be assigned to a member as their accountability partner to help them stay focused to achieve their goal. Additionally, there will be live coaching calls where you can call in and get answers to any of the particular problems or challenges that you may be facing on the path to your success. As well, we have occasional guest speakers who come in and present new, fresh ideas on how to become and stay consistent to achieve your every goal. So, without further ado, I would invite you to go right now to www.consistencysuccesscoach.com, and you will be glad that you did. And before we go, I would like to ask of you, if you really enjoyed this video and if you enjoy my whole series of videos, smash that like button. Give me a thumbs up. Help me to extend my reach to help other people. And should you want to get immediate notifications of all of the new videos that come out, just hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified every time I put out a new video. So, with that said, my wish to you, as always, for success, to stay consistent and be successful.